Hey y'all, it's Diana again in broad daylight. How y'all doing today? I'm back out here at Jean's house on the swing, my new favorite place. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the memorial that I made a video about the other day. And I had someone to comment on that video, and they said, well, they just needed to knock it over, just get rid of it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that memorial and the other memorials. When I was a child, and we would be coming to Mississippi, and when we got to Brooksville, my grandparents' farm was just out in the country a little bit. So by the time we got ready to go over that railroad track, and I would look at that memorial statue, I knew I was there, you know? And it was exciting, and it was such a beautiful statue. I thought, well, that is so grand, you know? With that marble statue of somebody holding a gun. I thought that was just really wonderful. And my mother would always say that that reminded her of her great-grandfather who had went to the Civil War and didn't come back. So in my mind, you know, that kind of put that in my mind, you know, when I'd see that statue, I would think of my mama's great-grandpa that was killed in the Civil War. And that is basically what these memorials were for. They were not to commemorate a lost cause of the Confederacy. They were erected to honor the dead. And what most people don't realize is the majority of the people who fought in the Civil War did not own slaves. They fought for a different reason than what the planter class, the ones that owned slaves. And actually, the majority, here I go with that word actually again. I guess I like that word. But they didn't have to do much fighting. Those ones whose family owned slaves, they had the bigger jobs, you know. They had, you know, in the cavalry or you know, higher ranking jobs. So they weren't like the foot soldiers that were out there getting killed left and right. But those ones who enlisted, and then some that were drafted, they did so because of the fact of states' rights. And even though slavery was a bad institution, those memorial statues were erected by usually the families and organizations that were trying to honor the dead. And that particular statue in Brooksville was erected to honor those who died in the Battle of Shiloh. There was a bad battle that was fought, and they were put on trains, and Brooksville had a really nice hospital then. And they brought them to the hospital there in Brooksville. And the ones that died, of course, had to be buried. And they were buried right there where the statue is erected. So actually, that is again, it was erected in a cemetery. It was erected where people were buried. So to remove that or destroy that is like desecrating a grave, in my opinion. And I just think it's terrible that they would want to destroy it, and that other people would say, you know, throw it down, tear it up, throw it away. Why? I mean, that's our history. Whether you believe in our history or not, it's still our history. And our families wanted to honor the dead, people who are dead, not to honor a dead Confederacy, but to honor the dead people. They're still dead, and their families honored them in erecting these statues. So for people to go tearing them down and tearing them up just because they've been stirred up over something that happened 150, 200 years ago. So there's no reason to come in here and destroy our stuff. You know, you can't take away our history, whether you like our history or not. You can't take it away and say it never existed. Some other way to punish the descendants of those people who fought in that war. That's all that is. Why is that trying to make people, will that make these people who are doing this feel better to hurt the whitey? I don't understand that. I really cannot understand that. I can't wrap my mind around it. I don't see any reason for it. So I just had to make this video because it upset me that that person would be so rude as to say, just, you know, they should have just knocked it over, tore it to pieces. You know, and you're a white person that is instigating trouble when there should be no trouble. Well, I can tell you this, everybody in most of Mississippi, if not all, are treated with respect these days. And in Noxubee County, and we have a black majority here, the blacks run the courthouse, they run all the government jobs. Our sheriff is black, our constables are black, most of our deputies are black, and we're having to contend with that. So why should they go and try to destroy stuff that was our history? I don't understand it. So more power to everybody, but we have some rights too. Why should we not be considered? You know, let's get where there's not a glare. I mean, I got a glare, but I need to get some non-glare glasses. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. It just infuriates me that people think that we're not supposed to have a history that we're proud of. You know, I do not say that I'm proud of the institution of slavery. No, I've always been against that. And it should have never happened. And I would have hoped that some easier way could have taken place that would have put things right. But it didn't. And we've had to live a lot of years. Everybody, blacks and whites, have had to live a lot of years in bad situations and learning to deal with each other. And I think by now we should have gotten things together. And one of the reasons is that blacks and whites live mostly different lifestyles. Their music, their you know, way of living is different from ours. A lot of people have tried to come together as one society, one community, and those are the people from all races that are trying to do that. They're the ones that are trying to move ahead with our country in a positive way. But for everybody wanting to just keep their, you know, their way of life, their customs and everything, instead of trying to come together as a people. Now that's what keeps things going backwards. You know, when you get white people that are members of the Klan and actually dislike black people, those are the people that are causing problems. And then you've got a lot of, you know, blacks that are stirred up and for a lot of bad reasons. You know, we've got some negative things going on here. It's like a negative energy in our country now that needs to find a way to rectify that. Whether the Black Lives Matter movement is helping or not, I don't know. I just know that the majority of the white people I talk to, they say all lives matter, that we should get together without having to pity one or the other. We're a country here that should be working together. So I will stop this before I put my foot in my mouth and people come away hating me more than ever. But it really doesn't matter to me if you hate me or not. But that's what I got to say. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye-bye, y'all.